It's been a while since I last made another review, so I guess I'll start right now. So I guess I'll start off with the Super NES game. Let's see, how about Mario Paint? Nah, too simplistic. Besides, I really don't have much to say about this game at this time, so I guess I'll put that one back. So let's see here, maybe Earthbound? Well, I would review that game, except for the fact that I still haven't gotten past Master Belch, so that's still gonna wait a little later for that one. Ugh, come on! I need to think of a game that I feel is a good start for my long time from reviewing. So let's see here. I already reviewed Super Punch-Out, Superstar, and Krusty Super Fun House. So whatever, I think I'll just pick out a game that I feel is a good one. How about this one? Ah, now here we go. This is just perfect. Not only that, but also, there's an NES version of this game as well. Alright, well, I think I'll be doing that one. When it comes to games that was released at the end of the NES lifespan, then you'll find Wario's Woods as the game to end it all. Not only was that the last game to ever be released on the NES, but it's also the only game out of the entire NES library to actually have an ESRB rating. Yep, that's right. If you were to look through any other NES game, then you won't find the ESRB label there. That's because the ESRB was found in 1994, which is the same year Wario's Woods was released. And they needed to use it since video games in the 16-bit era were starting to become more violent. But enough about that. Let's just check out Wario's Woods on the NES. Alright, so when you start the game, then you'll see that you get several different modes. So, I'll start with the round game. Now, when you actually start playing, holy cow! You get to play as Toad? Wow, since when did that happen in a Mario game? Oh, that's right, in Super Mario Bros. 2. Well, okay, but did he ever become the main character? Yeah, I didn't think so. But seeing as how Toad is not really the best Mario character, this game is also not the best game in the Mario series either. So what you have here is a puzzle game. The objective here is to align the bombs into these different light-colored creatures. It helps a lot when you align as much of the same colored enemies as you can, because if you eliminate all of that with just one or two bombs, then you'll get a crystal, where if you line up all the bombs with that, then all the enemies from that crystal would vanish. Generally, throughout the game, you have Toad's fairy friend Wanda helping you out with the bombs, with Birdo standing over to the right, pointing to the meter below that's rising up. Once it goes up all the way, then Birdo would leave and Wario would show up. Now, that is where things start to really get tough, as Wanda is replaced by Pidgeot, and he sends new creatures along the way, which helps increase the challenge of the game. So, you got to line whatever creature Wario throws at you to get through each level. Wow, seems like this game is filled with wicked wonders. So basically for me, this game is nice and easy. Yep, that's right, nice and easy. It's actually very relaxing. You know, just placing the bombs where the colored creatures are, clearing the rows, and completing the level. Yep, it is no problem for me. Of course, the game does get hard around level 70 and 80, But even then, it's not too much trouble for me, especially when you've been playing for a long extended period of time. Then you would earn extra continues as you move along. So therefore, when you mess up on a level, no problem. The continues there would put you back in the beginning of the level instead of bringing you back by every 5 digits of the levels. So as long as you have an extra set of continues, then beating the game should be no problem. However, another thing about this game that I want to address are the A and B games. Now, I played through the A game first, and that wasn't too bad, but as for the B game, well, it's actually pretty much the same as the A game. The only difference is that in the B game, then you fight a boss in every 9 digits of the round. Whew! A puzzle game where you fight a boss at a certain point of the game. I gotta say, that is pretty exciting. And as you're fighting through the different bosses throughout the whole game, then eventually you would get to Wario. Well, actually, you fight him twice. The first time is in round 69, where he's just a fake. The second time you fight him is where he's really big, as he takes up half of the screen. And as you're fighting him, then more and more enemies will fall down the screen than ever before, making it enough to easily crush you flat. But even then, it's no problem, because with enough speed and agility, then Wario is through. So that about covers the basics of the round game. Now, let's take a look at the time attack. Time attack is a more basic mode of Wario's Woods. Here, you got to move really fast to get a good time on completing the round. The courses are split from 2 rounds to 5 rounds, and you get to play from easy, medium, or hard. After you complete all the rounds of the difficulty levels, then it tallies up your technical rank certification, where you get bronze, silver, or gold for each achievement you complete in this certificate. Boy, doesn't this look like a nice certificate. I would love to earn one of those by getting gold on all the levels. But enough about that. It is time to give my final verdict on Wario's Woods. Well, overall, I think it's a pretty fun puzzle game, but it does get sort of boring after a while. So, I shall now lead to the final score. Wario's Woods on the NES receives a score of 7 out of 10. The good things that I have to say about the game is that it uses the fun of puzzle games. The bosses in round B add a nice touch, and the graphics and music look and sound really nice. The bad things I have to say about the game
I hope they can do a better job. They obviously can't do a worse one. This game gets a 0.
I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10.
Way too high.
This game has the most detailed stats engine you can find in an action-oriented baseball game, and you can get online on GameSpy Arcade and play with other players.
On the negative side, pretty much every single thing.
is that even though it uses some of the fun of puzzle games, it does get kind of boring, and it's not the ideal version of Wario's Woods. What is the ideal version of Wario's Woods? Well, I shall get to that right now. So after Wario's Woods was released to end the entire NES library, Nintendo also released another version of Wario's Woods, this time on their 16-bit system, the Super NES. So, we'll check that game out as well. So when you first start the game, then you'll notice that you have a bigger variety of levels. One example being that there's a versus mode where you get to play against the computer. Here, you get to battle against all the different enemies that Wario sends, most of which didn't appear in any other Mario game. So already, when you start the game, then the graphics are not only improved from the original game on the NES, but they also threw in some additional music and voice effects that really throw in the experience for this game. There is also a few new moves as well. For one thing, Toad can now pick up crystals that he receives. Yep, that's right. In the NES version, Toad cannot pick up the crystals no matter how hard he tries. Gee, kinda makes things a bit harder for him, don't you think? But one thing that I will say about the game is that the gameplay is even harder than in the NES version. Because once you play it, then I'm sure that there will be more and more bombs and enemies that will crush Toad flat, giving you a game over very quick. Oh my god, this is crazy! This is the type of thing that can make a game like this very addicting. And it is! With all the enemies that you got to compete against in the versus mode makes this one exciting game. Wow, Toad going up against a whole slew of enemies sounds like one wacky warfare. For the versus computer mode, you got to win the round 3 times in order to advance to the next boss.
To maybe even remotely have something to do with the movie Men in Black 2?
Well, this is a common theme in the video game business.
Who works for Wario in this game. And of course, the game gets harder and harder with each boss. Of course, you could start on the hard mode, but even then, you would still be playing for hours before you get to Wario. Come on, I can do this. I have to keep this up. I have to do everything I can to reach Wario. My god, I've been playing this game for hours, and I still haven't gotten to Wario yet. But I'm getting closer. Throughout the time I've been playing this game, I've been going up against opponents like the Blue Ogre, or this purple wizard guy who bears a resemblance to Barney. And now I'm at this boss who kinda looks like Peter Rabbit. He may be hard, but not too hard for me to finish. Well, now that I got past this guy, I wonder what's next. Ah, it's Wario! You ready for me? Are you ready to go up against me in this final showdown? In this here puzzle game? Are you ready for me to go up against you as we defeat each other for this game? Well, good, because I'm ready for you. Yeah, that's right. I'm freaking ready. Boy, I've been at it all day, and this final battle is a tough one. So basically, Wario throws a lot on screen, and it becomes harder and harder to think about what comes on the screen. Ah, but no problem, because I eventually defeated him after going up against each other a couple of times. Yeah, so that's basically the versus computer mode of Wario's Woods in a nutshell. It can be very challenging, but overall it's very fun to play, and you'll have a great time going through all the bosses throughout the whole game. So, now that that's been said, let's see what else this game has. Just like the NES version, this game also has a round mode, except for the fact that there's no A and B games for this version of Wario's Woods. Nope, it's all under one setting. Here, the game provides you with different cutscenes that shows Toad moving further and further towards Wario. But as for the round game in general, well, like I said, it's sort of the same as the one on the NES, but it has a few new touches to it. For one thing, as you advance further and further, then the scenery to the game changes, from a forest to a bridge and into the ice. And another thing about this round is that it's actually more challenging than in the NES version. In fact, the furthest I've gotten in the round game here is around level 85, I believe. Yeah, it's that tough. And from what I've heard, the round game just goes up to round 255, and it just loops from there. So I'm gonna leave it at that and just move on to the time race. Again, nothing too different from the NES version, except for the fact that it's indeed much tougher than in the original, and it actually took me a while to get all gold for this. So overall, Wario's Woods on the SNES is a pretty fun game, and much better than the game released on the NES. Yep, this game right here is the ideal version of Wario's Woods. Wario's Woods on the SNES receives a score of 8 out of 10. The good things that I have to say about the game is that the graphics and sound have been improved from the original NES version. There's a lot more obstacles and challenges used in this game, and once you play, it can be quite addicting. The only bad thing that I could think of is that even though this game has some good music and sound effects, I do feel it could have used a little bit more of it, since hearing the same music again and again could get old after a while. So a change of pace would be good. Alright guys, so out of the two versions of Wario's Woods that I reviewed, which one is the better version? Well, let's see. I gave the NES version a 7 out of 10 because while it is fun, the fun can pretty much outlast once you finish playing it. But the SNES version has so much more to do and gives you more of a challenge, making it quite addicting and less boring compared to the NES version. So that is why I give it an 8 out of 10. So the winner is no doubt the SNES version. Be sure to check out the official blip.tv page for Blueluigi's video game reviews by going to blip.tv/BVGR. It has all the episodes uploaded in order and uncut, so you can watch them there. And it's also going to be where the reviews are posted first before it's shown on YouTube. Also, be sure to check out the Facebook page for DSL Productions and click the like button to follow some news on some of my upcoming videos. The link is right here in the URL, so go check it out. Well, that's it for today's episode of Blueluigi's Video Game Reviews. There will be more episodes coming up in the future, so till then, I'll see you next time. Oh my god, this is crazy! Gah! Why did I have to do that? Ah, Wario at last! I am now towards you!